Good evening guys, hope you're well. It's time for another tutorial. It's been another week. Now last time I said to you I'll do a tutorial on doing some more beat matching examples, but I'm not going to do that today because basically every week when we're doing something, you're going to hear some examples anyway. What I want to do today is summarize what we've learned so far, and then give you guys a chance to actually let me know if there's anything else that you want me to elaborate on before we move on to the next chapter. And I'll explain to you what the next chapter is as well. So to summarize then, okay, so what we learned this chapter is basically the chapter of beat matching. So we started off with the structure of a dance track, so we broke that down into different phases. So you had like the introduction and it built up into like the main meat of the track, talking about meat again, and then we had the breakdown. Then that's like when you really get lost into the track with your hands in the air sort of thing. Then we had the build up back into more meat, and you just like dancing like mad then, and then the track just comes down to a halt and it finishes. So that is the structure of a dance stroke trance track. Then we talked about beats, bars and phrases. So we said a beat is something you can nod your head to, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. We have 4 beats in the bar and typically 8 bars in the phrase. That's what we're working with, and that's important because when you mix, you want to mix on the right beat of the bar and you want to mix on the right bar of the phrase. That's what you want to be doing. Then you had pitch, tempo and key. So we talked about pitch being like the frequency of sound. So like high pitch, high frequency, low pitch, low frequency. And then we talked about key slightly. I said key is related to pitch, but I didn't tell you that much about it. That's something we will talk about in the future. It's more of an advanced technique when we talk about harmonic mixing. But yeah, you can do some research on it anyway. Then we talked about tempo as well. So tempo is basically the speed of the track. So the faster it's going, the higher the tempo is. And then we talked about BPM and BPM counters. So BPM is beats per minute. That is what your tempo is worked out in. So trance tends to be like 130 stroke 140 BPM, beats per minute. So you want to make sure that you get the BPMs the same with the two tracks. And then I said that some equipment like mine, like my CDJ 1000, has BPM counters built in. So you can use them to aid your beat matching process, but don't rely on them 100% because they aren't always accurate. In fact, today I was doing a bit of a mixing before and I found a couple of tracks where it wasn't accurate at all. Okay, so then we have queuing. So queuing, this is basically where we started with the beat matching process. So queuing is when you actually set a cue point on the first beat of the bar, and then you actually hit the cue point. I'm not going to do it again because you can go back and watch that video, that tutorial anyway. I think it's mixingguide.com/queuing. So basically you set your cue point on so that when you release a track, which is the next tutorial, you basically release it on the first beat of the bar. So you need to know how to set a cue point. So yeah, so that took us on to releasing. So you want to release a track. We were talking about cars basically. Ideally we want to get to the level where both cars are traveling at the same speed. Initially, if one isn't, it's not easy to beat match if you don't release the beats at the same time. You want to release them at the same time and then work out what's going on, what the difference is. If you can't release bang on when you need to release, then you need to be able to correct it really quickly with an adjustment. That was that lesson. Then we talked about the actual beat matching process with a jog wheel. Sorry, I'm getting quite thirsty. In fact, forgetting I don't have water. So beat matching with a jog wheel. So that was basically making the adjustments, flicking forward and backwards. So we're accelerating or decelerating the track to work out whether we need to increase the tempo or decrease the tempo. So that was jog wheel beat matching. And then we went on to pitch riding last week. Yeah, that was last week. So that was basically doing the same thing, but only using the pitch slider and not using the jog wheel to do anything. And that's a useful technique to know and to learn basically. Okay, I'm saying the word basically quite a lot at the moment. Anyway. Okay, so that's I was going to say that's basically what we've talked about in this chapter. So what's coming in the next chapter? The next chapter is going to be all about transitions. Now, the thing is, when you learn to beat match, that itself is not enough to make a good mix. The crowd aren't going to be too happy if you got your beat matching correct, but you mix at the wrong time. This is where phrases come in as well, because you want to transition at the correct phrase, and then you also want to take into consideration like the song itself. What's happening in the song, whether you got drums in there, whether it's like a breakdown, or in fact, we'll just go through it over the next few weeks. But there are different ways to transition, and it all depends on what we're hearing at that moment in time. and you just gotta like just use your ear, use your head, and just just use what's in here, and just play whatever feels right for you. But there are different techniques that you can use to transition as well. But we'll go through that in the next few weeks. So that's the idea. So it's some exciting times to come. So now we're going to start talking about headphones as well, and how to use the headphones and the different headphone controls like split view, Q, mix, level, and that kind of thing. So we'll talk about that as well. How much time have I got? Alright, it's only been 5.5 minutes. Okay, so a couple of things then. The first thing is, now it'd be nice for me to know who's actually watching my videos, coming to my site and reading the tutorials, because I know a lot of you are actually getting some good use out of this. So just come on the forums, mixingguide.com/forum, and introduce yourselves, because it'd be nice for me to actually know, who I'm teaching, where they're at, what they think about these tutorials, and basically what equipment you've got, if you've got any advice that you can give me or other people, if you've got any problems that you need help on, because I don't really want to carry on to the next chapter if there's some of you that need some more help with this chapter with beat matching. It'd be nice if you could tell me that you need me to elaborate on some of my lessons, and I can do that. That's not a problem. But just come on the forum, let's get a discussion going, let's all of us just get to know each other a bit better. So yeah, man, mixingguide.com/forum. Now I want to finish off with a couple of quick things, just quick pointers, which I thought about today. Whoops, 1 second. There we go. Okay, that's a bit too loose. Come on, hang on. This is something wrong with the tripod here. Oh no, I think it's broke. Damn. Okay, that's not good. Ah, there you go. Got you. Okay, so 2 things then, quickly. Now the first one was, now if you recall, when I first talked about my equipment setup, I said I've got, can you see my mixer there? I've got my main mix output and a booth output. My main mix output goes out to these speakers up here. Now I've also got a booth output that goes out to my PC. And the thing is, the speakers on my PC have a lot more bass. Now I realised something today. I was mixing, and basically I was playing something. So check this out. This is my main speakers. Now the PC speakers. You might not be able to hear it on the video, but there's a lot more bass on the PC speakers. Now I was mixing, and it sounded okay on these, but then I decided to check it out just using the bass speakers. And I was mixing, and I could hear the beats weren't matched as accurately as I thought they were. So the lesson there is, if you can actually get your booth output connected to some different sets of speakers, then practice your mixes on those as well, separately, on both of them, on these ones, on those ones, just because you might hear something that you don't normally hear, just depending on the frequencies that you're listening to. Okay, so that's one thing. And the other thing is, what was it? There was something else I wanted to tell you. Oh yeah, so a really quick thing then. Now, basically, we're talking about cue points. Now, the one thing is, when you're actually setting cue points, normally, what you're doing is you're actually setting a cue point on the first beat of the bar. Especially, it's useful if you don't actually have an auto cue point set correctly by the equipment. So, for example, this is a track called something, can't remember, or the White Room. Okay, so this doesn't start with a beat. I could set a cue point there, but the thing is, if you're actually good at pitch riding, you don't need to do that. You can basically just hold it at the beat and just release at the right time. Let's do that. So on this one, we play the track. Here we just get it ready at the beat and count it in and just release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Then we just like beat match like normal. Slow down. Like that. So just a really quick tip there. Okay, I think I'm running out of time now. I've got about 15 seconds left for my YouTube limit. Okay, so that's it then. So thanks a lot for listening. I'm kind of half tired, that's why I'm speaking quite slowly today, but that'll do. So next time we'll start with transitions. I'll talk about headphones and that kind of thing. So catch you guys later. Bye.